everybody. Uh, Back in my room is a complete disaster because I've been remodeling and doing laundry. My sisters aren't here, so basement is not occupied. So trying to get all my laundry done, which is great. Anyway, this is just finished watching because unfortunately, I tried watching last night's UFC 175, and I was forced to have to leave the place that I was watching at. It got very uncomfortable for myself as well as my ride. So yeah, I had to leave. Um, but just finished watching it now, and it as far as the two uh, the two main events go, uh, yeah, I don't see anybody beating Ronda Rousey anytime soon, unless Chris Cyborg comes to UFC, which I know for a fact isn't gonna happen. Uh, she's just too tough. She's just too mean. Her judo skills are second to none. Seriously, her striking is as good as anybody's, and for as petite a woman as she is ridiculously strong. I was shocked, man. Like a knockout, fight was over in 16 seconds. Uh, I don't know where that ranks in UFC's fastest knockouts, because Mike Goldberg got it wrong. Like the second fastest knockout in UFC history, really, because Don Fry on UFC 8, first round, knocks out his opponent in 8 seconds. Then later on, dude by the name of Mark Weir knocks out his opponent in less time than that. Fight starts, bam, knocks him out, done. So, and I'm pretty sure there was other fights that was even less time than those. And for you to say it's a second, like, dude, don't. It was fast. It was fast. Okay, just keep it at that. Don't don't try to throw statistics in. You're not good at it. Then of course, uh, and anyway, back to that fight. I knew uh, Rousey was gonna win. I've never seen Alexis Davis fight, and I knew Rousey was gonna win. And that's how good Ronda Rousey is. And like I've said in previous talks before, I don't like her as a person, but as far as what she's accomplished in martial arts, I can't take anything away from her. She's great to watch. To watch somebody that pretty be able to get in there and do as much damage as she does. Yeah, nobody's taking that belt from her anytime soon. Um, uh, Gina Carano was pretty, but nowhere near as impressive, nowhere near as well-rounded. And you can say the same for any of the girls that fought in Strikeforce. Um, Invicta right now, since it's an all female brand of MMA. Basically, a lot of it has the opportunity because there's so many different weight classes for these women to fight, and yeah, it's fun watching It is fun sometimes watching the women fight, but at the same time, uh, nowhere near as impressive as Ronda Rousey has been. She's gonna be champion for a long time. Then the main event, Weidman versus Machida. Uh, I hope this pretty much shuts every Weidman hater down already. I don't know what people have against what people have against Chris Weidman. It's like the first fight with him, Anderson Silva. Oh, that was a fluke. Then the second fight, Anderson Silva breaks his shin. It's like, oh, it still felt like there was a lot of questions unanswered. But at the same time, in that second fight, Silva wasn't winning. He was still losing that fight. And then to come into here, if Machida would have won this fight, Machida definitely would have solidified himself as legendary status right then and there to win the light heavyweight belt as well as the middleweight belt. Only three people in UFC history have won belts. I mean, only two people in UFC history have won titles in two different weight classes. Um, and if he'd the way the fights went down, Machida's style of karate is very, very defensive because, like even in his fight with um uh, Dan Henderson, they were talking about how, oh yeah, Machida needs to take the center, but Machida almost never really takes the center. He's always off to the side, and he's parrying and he's defending, and you never know where he's coming from. It's very unorthodox, and throws a lot of guys off. But Weidman wasn't falling for that for the first 3 rounds. Then the fourth round, Weidman got tired. Then all of a sudden, Machida's got enough gas in the tank, to actually start moving forward, and it wasn't enough. If Machida would have been fighting like that in round one, that the belt would have been his, no ifs, ands, or buts. But instead, he decided to play it safe, and he pretty much looked like he got outclassed. Then in the fifth and final round, uh, it was almost it was pretty close between the two of them as far as the significant damage done to one another. And of course, Chris Weidman scored more takedowns because he's a great wrestler. And Machida showed great wrestling defense, but still managed to get taken down 5 different times. And on top of that, he was outstruck for 3 out of 5 rounds, just completely outclassed 3 out of 5 rounds, and got bloodied up. Weidman, he didn't, Weidman left with a few marks, but Machida's cut top of his head, side of his face. He took a beating, and Machida showed that, yeah, he still got it. He still got some juice left. But if you have any doubts about whether or not Chris Weidman is supposed to be champion, no ifs, ands, or buts. This kid is champion. Okay, as you can't necessarily say what it is that he's good at, because he's got the submissions, he's got the wrestling, he's got the striking, and what else is there to be said? Uh, it was a great night of fights. That was especially the main event. Um, I look forward to seeing more Chris Weidman. Like I said, no fans or buts. You saw this fight. It's like, okay, this kid is champion. How long is he going to keep the belt? I don't know. I really don't. Because there's so many other tough guys coming up against. People, might try to play favorites, but for the most part, I honest to God don't know how long this kid's going to be champion. It's like George St. Pierre, I knew was going to be champion for. A long time. Chuck Liddell for I knew he was going to lose to Rampage when they threw Rampage in there. I knew that Randy Couture was going to lose to Brock Lesnar when they threw Brock Lesnar at him. And I mean, hell, even the first time Brock Lesnar fought Frank Mir, I knew that it's like chances are Frank Mir is gonna dig real deep and pull a submission out, but he's gonna get beat. He's gonna take a beating before he could get that submission, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Uh, it's not so much that these fighters are getting predictable or anything like that. It's just that when you've watched mixed martial arts for as long as it's been around, and you've seen some of the older more popular stuff at its time, other alternatives like Gladiator Challenge or King of the Cage, or any of these other rinky-dink organizations that just put shows on, and these people probably aren't even in business anymore. And Zuffa bought them out. Now they're all fighting under UFC anyway. Watching Pride, seeing Bellator, Strikeforce, Elite XC shows like that. Guaranteed, you're gonna start to develop a knack on how more or less these fights are gonna go down, and especially with the particular fighters you see, because nobody's original. Every like everything that they do has been done before. Like what style are they picking up, and it, it, it's 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 still fun to watch. No, if nothing else, it is still very fun to watch. And I'm done talking, and have a good night.